All right, here we go. OverDrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 4. Brian Hazio, Doug, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. How we feeling? All in studio, feeling good. A beautiful Thursday in Toronto. What a night we have tonight. What a night we have.
Beauty night tonight, and some things last night where maybe I need Doogie to get some odds on some of the were they called props that we were talking about beforehand?
Yeah, there's some props. We had the whole kind of back office was buzzing, and Doogie was right in the middle of all of it, right? And
Doogie was taking shrapnel.
Doogie, yeah, he got hit with a couple of shrapnel shots, but
he loves getting engaged in some of the combos. I got to admit, Doogie knows his stuff.
Full of hot takes. Full of hot takes.
Doogie does know his stuff, and he does have a lot of takes. And
Wembanyama MVP and Jake Sanderson, which you think won't happen, Norris.
Yes, so that was a take that came off the air that we're bringing on the air. I think the Wembanyama one we'll get to momentarily. Jake Sanderson winning the Norris or nominated for the Norris?
Nominated.
That's your take.
Dude, I'm telling you.
It's an outrageous overreaction.
Right? So it is nominated at that.
No, nominated means top three. You're in the building. You have a suit on and you're in the building.
Asking. I'm looking for clarification.
Nomination is top three.
I don't think it's crazy to think that kid, if he just keeps trucking, and every single night people are like, Jake Sanderson, Jake Sanderson, Jake Sanderson. Because that's how it happens. That's how it happened with Fox. Fox was a relatively just kind of the young guy, and he could handle a puck. Then all of a sudden, everyone's like, man, this Fox guy, he's really good. Maybe he should win the Norris. And then you know what happened?
He won
Foxy
the Norris.
won the Norris.
Yes, he did.
You have to back it up with two things. Obviously, a mountain of points and momentum, but your team has to be good. So that's. And
Ottawa looks very good.
They look good.
They looked great last night.
They looked great last night. They deserve to win. Washington looked old and slow.
You might have been right about Washington.
Oh, but listen,
Ovi's
that's two games. Like I thought Ovi had a pretty good chance there in front, and then Carlson ended up scoring. Like I think he'll be fine. I still think Ovi gets close to 40 goals. I personally think.
Well, Ovechkin did something last night that he has never done in his career.
I saw that stat.
2 games in a row without a shot on goal. He had 4 shot attempts, but that has not happened at any point in his career, which is an incredible statistic. If you include regular season and playoffs, it's 1,496 games in a row.
Wow.
Where he made sure he followed up a bagel with, I'll bet you, 7 shots on goal, 10 shots on goal.
12, yeah.
And you mentioned the Carlson play. I thought that was an awkward fall forward. Like it was like, what is going on with Alex Ovechkin? He's still scoring 30.
Right.
I don't know if he's touching up on 40. I really don't, because he looked slow to me, and he has great starts. Yeah. Like usually he's 4 games in, he's got 6 goals, and you're like, this guy is cooking.
Yeah.
And that team is just not a very good team. Washington is not,
players, but they're not good.
They've got old players.
Yeah, but I mean,
like Kuznetsov's not young, and Ovi's not young.
But I don't think you can just say what you saw last night, and it hasn't been a very good start for them.
You know what I mean, though, the Ovechkin fall? Like,
dude,
he
I know.
fell forward
it looked
into
like your uncle at a Christmas game.
It was awkward.
It looked like your uncle at a Christmas game taking it to the hole, and he fell into his, like your aunt, and then
Carlson scored, and he goes like this. I'm like, man, that was strange.
It had a weird look to it, and but I don't, because you said they weren't going to make the playoffs, and I'm looking at the players. It's like Backstrom's coming back. And Kuznetsov, whether you say he's old or not.
Wilson, you got
Wilson,
all these guys,
it's like...
Oshie, they've got good players there. You're
right. But as
of
right now, they are what they are, and they have to prove that they're not that, because if they're that, they're going to have a long one.
I think they're in the Pittsburgh boat. I think they're in the same boat as Pittsburgh.
But both missed the playoffs last year.
Agreed. And both trying to make retribution for last year. What they've done is going back with the same core, the same guys. Washington hoping for health, because they do have more players available to them this year. Pittsburgh looking for more depth, because that's what Dubas did, is added some depth to the bottom 6.
And that game last night in Detroit, all of Twitter was like, look at this, Malkin's back in action. He's got Riley Smith with him, and then it was like 4-1 Wings.
Yeah, Detroit took off.
Ended up, 5-3? I was watching that game, but it's, Malkin's got a bunch of points. I think he's got 7 points.
He's put up a lot of points.
But Pittsburgh lost, and that's the like Detroit, Ottawa. We'll see if Buffalo got to win the other night against Tampa. Those teams are the teams that are trying to take points off the teams that made the playoffs last year.
Right.
And that's where we'll see how this unfolds, because Detroit got a couple wins. And this DeBrincat's all of a sudden found a scoring
He's
touch
happy,
again.
isn't he? He loves being down there.
Loves being in the hometown.
And if you're in Ottawa, you're like, all right, we've moved on.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Tarasenko
Like, there's
scored.
no need to. Like, that's what's kind of crazy is if DeBrincat was still there, I don't know how all the money would have worked. Tarasenko wouldn't be. Right. Obviously, if DeBrincat was still there, Tarasenko wouldn't be. And you mentioned that Tarasenko, I think he had 2 points last night.
Yeah.
But Jake Sanderson looks great. Like, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying pump the brakes. I know you're always calling me a hater, suggesting the guy's not going to be top 3 for the Norris.
A tour.
A lot. I can hate on certain things. I'm not hating on this kid at all. And listen, stop playing that. Pierre Dorian hitting on Stützle and Sanderson in the same draft. And Greg later in the first round.
Yes.
Is a remarkable draft. Remarkable. And Ottawa looks good. But Ottawa hasn't played great competition yet. Either. Let's point that out. They beat Tampa at home. But Philly and Washington,
I'm not going there.
Doesn't really register.
I'm not going there yet. But your comment, this is why I'm trying to preface it. You said, let's take a look at this team 20 games in, because this is what we need to do. Is we're 4 games in. Like, let's breathe. Very early. I like what I see on some things. Other things I don't like what I see with other teams. Where you are. Okay, yeah, Ovi fell down like your uncle at a Christmas party or whatever.
It was like when Brett the Hitman Hart came back that last time.
All you little kids, watch this play, and you just wipes out in front of the net.
I'm a believer in Ovi. I'm giving him the longest lead. This is the greatest goal scorer
of all time
in the history of the game.
Of all time.
I'm fine with a slow start.
And adjusted era, he's already got the record.
Well, yeah,
right?
According to
adjusted era and expected and all that kind of stuff. It's already been established.
But I didn't love Washington's game. I thought Ottawa's game looked great last night. I think Detroit, some of the players that they've added in there sneakily, the Cop looks like the Cop that they signed, got a couple goals. I think they're a team that's coming. Rick Clouseau played well last night.
Here's what we're going to do, fellas. Doogie, get ready for this, okay? Write it down in your notes because you always write good notes. After 3 weeks, because everybody in hockey says American Thanksgiving, you pretty much know, you are what you are.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to throw 500 in the pot. Everyone, Doogie and JP included.
Yeah, you're in.
Attaboy, Doogie.
We're going to do Atlantic Division, where you think come Thanksgiving things are going to lie. So if you get it bang on, you are the winner.
That's a month from now, though. Isn't it? Is American Thanksgiving like the third week?
It's near the end of November.
Yeah, it's about a month from now.
Yeah, it's about a month from now.
So next Monday, we're going to write down where we think things are going to slot at.
Okay.
And the winner takes the cash.
Well, I can tell you, I think everyone's going to have Montreal 8th, and I think that's where they're going. Beyond that, I mean, there's a lot of moving and shaking. Let's call it what it is. I mean, we talked about Buffalo off to a bit of a slow start. So is Florida. Florida's off to a bad start. They just got to win the other night in Jersey. They needed that desperately. Tampa's off to a slow start. Vasilevsky being out. The Leafs are in Florida tonight. The Leafs are 2-1. The Leafs are at a good spot, but that can change quickly. You lose tonight, you lose Saturday. All of a sudden, you've allowed those teams to kind of catch up to you. And again,
we're played 2 games.
They've only played 2 games for some reason, and yet they are undefeated. They're 2-0.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to this game tonight. Sam Bennett's not playing. I wish he was playing. He made such an impact on that playoff round. Right. Like, he was such an impactful piece. And Radko Gudas is in Anaheim now, so he won't be a part of it tonight. Because if Gudas was, I would be anticipating some fireworks tonight.
I still don't know why that's such a big deal.
Because he stopped in front of the goalie.
Stopped and yelled at the goaltender.
Well, you were a goalie. If that was you, would you have taken that lightly or been pissed off?
I would have wanted to chop that guy's head off.
They just won the series.
I know, but put yourself in those
this
skates.
It is such a nonsensical thing.
I disagree.
That's Radko Gudas is the problem, and Ryan Reeves is better take care of it. Why? The guy, you know what you should have done? Not giving up a 2-on-1.
Well,
so
that's
you lose
true.
The series.
Although I think there was possibly a bit of a screen there.
Yeah, and there was a hook.
Maybe
and blah,
that could have been
blah,
called, but it doesn't matter.
I still think it's a loser's race when you're looking at that. That's what it is.
Race.
It's a loser's race when you're worried about a guy yelling in the goalie's face. Yeah. Would I have liked to see Joseph Wall stick a stick in the guy's eye? Probably.
That would have been pretty
cool. That's the competitive nature in me. But I don't know why that's such a big deal.
I think it's just a screen grab of the whole series. And, Florida.
In 5. It's not like that was the Game 7 overtime winner. They lost in 5.
Still, it was the OT winner. They lost on home ice.
Yeah, I guess that's...
Listen, it was completely raw emotion. I don't blame
At the very
Radko
least,
Gudas.
it would have added to the buildup. Like, you could have gone to him in the morning and...
Like, it's a wild reaction to yell in a guy's face.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry. That is a wild reaction.
And he's probably saying, you suck, pal. You just let in the series-ending goal.
I don't know if he says it. He probably is yelling. It's going, yeah, we're going home and we won. We're moving on. Like, I just don't... Like, I don't see it as big a deal. I mean, they lost the series.
I think because of who he is, too, it plays a role. Like, he's tough. He leans on you. He was very successful.
By the end, he was playing hurt. Like, that guy was barely getting on the ice. He's a machine, Gudas,
and he has been throughout his career. Like, that's who he is. I think it would be an added ingredient going into the game tonight. And when you consider, what happened a year ago, I was trying to compile, like, my list on the fly of Maple Leaf rivalries. And I still, even though they lost to Florida, I don't think Florida's even in the top 4. Like, I don't think this should be a revenge for the players in the room. Like, the players and the guy behind the bench, Charlie Keefe, should look at this and say, the last time I saw Paul Maurice, I had to shake his hand and say congratulations.
What they have to do tonight, Hayes, is they have to prove Verhaeghe right. Because he said, you know what, they're going to be pissed off because we took them out of the playoffs. And it's going to be a battle tonight.
That's right.
Prove him right.
That's what it should look like tonight is, the Rick Tocchet in Philly situation. This should be the big boys in Toronto, like the vets who have been there saying, we are showing up to play tonight. And you would expect a response from Florida. Like, it's their home opener tonight. They've been on the road. Matthew Tkachuk is playing. He's healthy. Barkov's playing.
Right.
I would assume Bobrovsky's in net. I haven't seen that definitively, but I'd be shocked if Bob wasn't playing. He has to be playing.
Thing is, too, the Leafs didn't have. I mean, it could have gone differently on Monday night, but they lost to Chicago, so they should be a little pissed off.
That's right. Yeah, this should be a big game for them.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of rivalries, like I'd still go Boston and Tampa. I'd go Montreal and Ottawa because of the history and the geography. Florida, if they pass Buffalo, like are they further up the list than Buffalo? If Florida were to roll through town, is that a game you'd prefer to see, expecting some sort of fireworks or
I would rather
animosity?
see Buffalo, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's weird. Like if Florida went to a Cup final and they knocked out the Leafs and they dismantled them, like they really did. They won in 5. And
yeah, but you're right. It's not as. I guess maybe I should retract. The sexy storylines are the Gudas thing, is the Sam Bennett, because that's all you remember, right? But it's not really. There's not much more. That's what I'm saying. Like you're looking at that, and I'm like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But there's nothing else from that series you got other than the fact that you lost. Like was there bad blood?
No, that's the thing. There was never really animosity.
Like
although that's maybe what I guess we're saying is that it was one-sided. Like Bennett knocked out Nyes, threw a massive hit on him, and then
Matthew
Gudas,
Tkachuk punched Marner in the face.
Yes, that was at the end of Game 4 for the Leafs to survive, I believe, and push it to 5. And then Gudas yelling at Wall, and that was it, really. And that's more of a shot, I guess, at the Leafs. The fact that they just never felt like they were really in the series.
Yeah,
although they were all closer games for the most part.
They were close and overtime and that, but that's how Florida played.
Yeah, they did all the way up.
Games the whole way through.
That's right.
I think there's more animosity with Tampa. Like I told you, I guarantee you, that Eric Chernak is coming for the kid in Carolina.
Yeah. Now, would he be looking at someone on the Leafs, considering Bunting's not here anymore? Like,
I don't think so.
Is there a reason for Chernak?
That was just like a direct, greasy hit.
But that one's going to be a big one Saturday because Jeannot is in the lineup there.
Right.
Reeves is in the lineup here. Like that, I would be shocked if the two of them didn't fight Saturday night. Like that's kind of what I see happening here with Reeves here, with Jeannot.
Yeah, he doesn't have to fight every night, but you can see, you're right.
Like if he throws hits, Jeannot will come over to him and invite him.
I would
Jeannot, that kid's tough as nails.
Yeah, I mean he's like that.
And vice versa. If Jeannot throws a bunch of hits, I would expect Reeves goes over and says that's enough.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's kind of the whole point. more or less, which I don't see that playing a role in the game tonight. But I think like Boston would be looking at Florida saying we want a piece of them more than the Leafs in a weird way. Even though the Leafs lost in 5, Boston lost in overtime of Game 7.
Right.
But Boston was up 3-1, magical season, ended Bergeron's career.
Yeah.
Like, I would think that it's more likely that those two teams kind of have it circled saying, let's see where that goes.
Yeah.
But anyway, game's on TSN 4 tonight. Dave Poulin will be in studio in about 20 minutes. Pooley's coming in. We'll get his take on Ovechkin last night. Ovechkin early in the season.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're not goofing.
Not goofing on Ovi, but
we are technically. The
fall was an awkward one. It was an awkward kind of, and it worked out. Carlson came right down Broadway.
We're all believers, though. I'm a believer that
it's a bad start. Let's call it what
40,
it is.
But it's been a bad
And in the past, it's like one of the magical things about Ovi or any great player. It's like everyone's aware of the damage they do, and yet they're still open and taking one-timers or open in the slot or Gretzky's open behind the net. And they're just open and they make plays. And he's just not doing it right now. Yeah. And it's a weird look because the visual is not what you're used to seeing.
Right. And everything is about chasing Gretzky. Right. Not even about this season. It's like you got to bank a bunch so you're only a year and a half away from catching him. Where
How many is he behind, like total?
He's got to get to 895. I think it's
100.
No, he's over 8 because he passed Howe. Howe was at 802. I believe I want to say he's 90 or 85 away, something like that. Yeah. We can look that up, Doogie. You're on the case. But
this guy's magic.
Like 73.
Look at him peeking into
73 from passing him.
That's what I'm reading right now. But I'm on the fly.
So that that's probably
So Ovi's got it in his head where it's like if I could rip 40 home this year, it's like 30.
I could do it at the end of next year and maybe retire.
Yes.
If he wants to.
Yes.
But that's why I think he'll, like, again, we're not overreacting to a Gretzky record because of 4 games, but I think he'll play till he's 43, 44.
Hasn't Washington played only 3 games? They've only played 3 games.
They played 3 games.
44 years.
Yes, he will. If he's at 893 goals and he's 44 years old, he's coming back.
He is.
He is coming back. He's not stopping playing until he passes Wayne Gretzky.
How old is he right now?
He's 38.
38.
Yeah,
He's going to do it in the next 6 years.
He is not
what do you
coming.
Think he's going to get 14 goals this year?
Listen, knock on wood. I want to see this guy pass him. What if there's an injury or something?
You're right.
What if an Aaron Rodgers pops up? Then that blows out a year. Then all of a sudden it's a rehab. Then it's 18 goals, and you're like, man, this guy's 40 and he's still 50 away. Like,
no.
So what? This guy wheels into Teddy Leonis's office with legit white hair and says, I need a 3-year deal, Teddy.
Yes. Listen, and he'd get it. Ted Leonsis is going to be on that ice.
Ovi helped save that organization.
Absolutely.
If you take a look at it, too, I know they want to win. They want to make the playoffs and that. Their Stanley Cup is his goal leader.
That's exactly right. That's why he will play until he passes it. And they will happily
And they won't blow anything up until he gets that.
You're right. Well, they're blowing up anyway, though. It's almost by osmosis.
But what I'm saying is you're not like
intentionally tanking.
Carlson, Wilson, Kuznetsov, all of those guys are there. And they could have easily tried to wheel some of them out and wheel contracts out. They're not doing that because the focus is on getting Ovi the goals.
Yes.
Dude, that guy's not playing at 44 years old.
Well, he'll get past the record.
He's not
before
exactly.
40. He's 38.
He's going to beat it in the next 3 years. He'll beat it in the next 3 years. But I'll bet you he's in his 40s. He'll be into his 40s, and like I'm 40 now, man. It's different.
You got hurt getting up from the couch.
I did. I was in my mid 30s when that happened. That was like 6 years ago.
You literally had a couch injury on your docket.
Actually, it was worse than that. I was on the floor.
Or you were on the floor getting up.
I got up off the floor wobbly and blew my. What the hell did I do?
Back of your knee.
What happened there, Doogie? I can't remember now. My meniscus. That's what it was.
Tore a meniscus.
Tore my meniscus. Man. Got repaired, though, beautifully. 6 years later, I'm still rocking with that thing.
Better than ever.
Yeah.
That elliptical in the basement. How's that?
How is that thing?
It's still down there, man. It's it's moved to a position where it just will never be used again.
It's out of the way. Like it'd scrape up against the wall or something.
Like it used to be right when you came down the stairs, so it would scream at you. Like you'd walk in, you'd see it, you'd feel horrible about yourself. Then you'd move on with your day. You wouldn't actually get on it. But now it's been completely moved.
So you
out
made
of
a
the
decision, like you and Aaron, like grabbed it and said, "Let's move this out of the way because the kids need to play."
Exactly what happened. It is so far out of the way that it just is not even usable anymore, which I like because it's been paid for. I mean, I bought the thing. It's just sitting there. I don't know what it would be worth.
Dude,
I'm sure it's incredibly outdated.
I bought Steph a Peloton
Yeah.
for her birthday or for Christmas 4 years ago.
Never. Four times.
She's used it.
Yeah.
And for like months, I was paying, what, $50 a month for that app?
I think you got to pay a lot to get
Yes,
like the personal
for the app.
trainers and all that kind of stuff.
And then when
like,
I shut
track
it down, she gave me, she's like, no, like keep the app
Yeah.
going. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
That thing is a clothes hanger.
Well, I swear, Peloton, I'll bet you at least 50% of those that have ever been sold never used more than 10 times.
But the commercials make it look so fired up.
course.
Like
So
Because
fun.
it's
You got all these
athletic
good-looking
people.
athletic people just jamming in. Like
they're working
hey,
out.
let's
They're
do
all having
this.
so much fun. I think that's actually, like you talk about false advertisement. There's nothing fun about it. Like they try to pretend as if they're having fun. It's not fun. Like it's
Well,
not fun to work out.
I hate it. Like
I hate it with a passion.
I don't mind. I
No, but
read
you
it,
have an
I watch-
appreciation for it, and you do it every day. Like you're a rare breed that gets it, and you do it.
Dude,
but
the
like
only
starting
time
from
it's
scratch,
fun,
it's not fun.
If you go into the basement by yourself, and by the way, if anybody knows of anything like Etobicoke, Mimico area, if you do a boot camp, like
What do you mean? You're asking them to invite you?
through a boot camp. You're gonna
Hey,
show
have you
up
got
and-
an inside track on
No, I'm
me
saying-
getting in shape?
I'm an early morning guy. If there's a 5-6 a.m. boot camp with 50 plus, I'm 50 years old, man. I don't want to do it with these young punks that are doing 50 chin-ups at the same. I need a 50-year-old senior.
Dude, get
Boot
serious.
camp.
You're not.
People that walk
There's a
with
better
pop.
chance Jake Sanderson wins the Hart Trophy this year than you showing up one day at a boot camp that you've heard
Dude.
through the grapevine.
Doogie, get on it. If anyone writes us at
on, Doogie.
OverDrive or whatever our Twitter handle is,
Yes.
I want a boot camp in Etobicoke, Mimico, 5 or 6 a.m.
And you'll be there?
And
You'll
I'll be there.
Over
5 a.m.
50.
That's way too early.
5
What the
a.m.
hell are you
over
gonna do
50
there?
through the winter.
Yeah,
That seems very reasonable.
there'll be a dead body there. You'll freeze in the snow.
That
Something
is
will happen.
concerning.
Dude, it's not outdoors. Like, give your head a shake.
Like at a studio
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
it's inside. It's an indoor boot camp.
All right,
Those
dude.
are even tougher.
Keep
They,
your eyes peeled.
they hook up the heart rate
I had to
monitor
do that.
you. And like,
You know how embarrassing it was when I remember when I did Tough Mudder?
there was a guy with jean shorts on. You
There-
said.
and he smoked me. He went over that wall because you know what's the most annoying thing about Tough Mudder is you're supposed to jump over a wall like this. It's like a showing of solidarity and hey, it starts tough, it ends tough, but it's
Yeah.
a glorified event. I could barely get over the wall. I was getting helped get over the wall, and this guy with jeans did like a double hop and went right over it
Wow.
and took off.
Not
And-
more embarrassing than the comment you made to me,
Which one?
where you said, "Look back there, oh dog. That's the pace car that's ending the
Yeah.
race."
They're picking the cones up.
That was really embarrassing.
Yeah. And you're like, we have to get moving because
Yeah.
that's the end of the line.
Like literally,
And there
the
was
city.
a guy with a cane and two other people that could barely walk.
Yeah,
And we were in front of them.
that was the most embarrassing moment.
That's-
collectively of our career.
well, it was
That
me
was really
because you were
embarrassing.
staying with me because I
Yeah, but I wasn't dying to take off.
Did
like
you
I
stop
wasn't.
to go to the bathroom at a gas
He did. He
station?
went.
I
into-
did, and
he
he
went
left
into
me. I
Starbucks.
came out of sub. No, I was
like,
a
I'm outta
Subway,
here.
and I came out, and you were gone.
It's a 5K. This guy's checking the mail. He's like, it's supposed to be like a 40-minute thing. He's like, I gotta take a leave.
It wasn't 5. It was
in
10.
line.
That was a
10K. But still, the winner of the 10K did it in like 28 minutes.
Yeah.
like it's not something where bathrooms should even be on the radar.
Dude,
They
I was
don't
3
even have-
hours and 20 minutes. I was 3 hours,
Do
20
you know how
minutes.
slow you have to be for your like system to be like, it's time to stop and go to the washroom? You know, like, you probably have time. It doesn't appear to me, based on the way things are moving, you're actually doing anything seriously right now. So we'll find you a washroom. That was really embarrassing, though. But
that
it was
was
also
tough.
what I was going to say is when we used to train, they used to put the thing on me because
Yeah.
it was like I can't remember the name of the gym. I should plug them. Great guys. Daryl was my guy. Daryl was getting me through it, but he'd be watching my heart rate, like stretching. He'd be like, "What is happening?
Why you
got
at
Tough Mudder in like 2
141?
weeks?" Like I had a big night last night. I was training, but I didn't change a thing else in my lifestyle.
So fun.
Diet was horrible. Boozing, gambling. Nothing else changed, but I prepared for Tough Mudder.
I love it.
All right, Dave Poulin in studio. Luke Wilson coming up. Owen Wilson. Got to be nervous. Got to be getting a little bit nervous. Hayes and company on the clock tonight. We don't know if Trevor Lawrence is playing. We're looking for updates. We'll tee that game up. Week 7 of the NFL and 2 ball games tonight as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Luke Wilson in studio in a half an hour, and look who has made his way in studio as well. Here's our buddy Dave Poulin. What's happening, Paulie?
It's all happening right now. We're all together. This is great.
Isn't this great?
It's like for real. This is so much fun.
Yes. So you're doing panel work tonight, Leafs Panthers.
Little panel work tonight. I was in Montreal on Tuesday for the Minnesota game.
Yeah,
so
watched that.
Back jumping around.
But that was Montreal didn't have much in Minnesota.
Fleury was terrific.
He was. I loved. He had the windmill.
Oh, it
had
was
stack
great.
save in tight. Like Montreal had some looks, but
So Jamie, in warm-up, first of all, he took almost the whole warm-up.
yeah.
And he stayed out and took the penalty shots at the end. You know, the guys want to fool around and take penalty shots. Right till the end. There were like 3 guys on the ice.
Really?
And I'm like, are you sure he's starting?
Yeah.
Like, starters don't do that. He thought it was his last time in the Bell Center. He had a whole bunch of people there.
Yeah.
And to their credit, the Montreal fans, as Montreal fans do, as the game went on, started chanting his name.
They were chanting his
They
name.
were
I
chanting
saw
his
that.
name. But the double pad stack
Windmill, yeah.
This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Kovacevic isn't all alone, and then you can see his face after close up. He's got that big grin on.
Yeah.
He's like, he had so much fun. It was like when you took your turn as a road hockey goalie, and you were just going to flash the leather.
Right.
That's what it was like. It was like a little kid in there.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, that's he's had a great career, Marc-Andre Fleury. Like, is he,
He
a
really
Hall of
has.
Famer for
I
you?
think he is.
He's
You
a
think
Hall
he's
of
in the Hall of
Famer.
Fame?
Oh, yeah.
He's got all
cups.
those wins for sure.
Cups.
He's got 3
But
cups.
He's got cups, wins.
And I know
How
there
many
were-
did he start,
I
though?
know. He was a big part of it. Even if you think about how the guys that were there have struggled without him there. Like,
Yeah.
Jerry won a cup, or Murray were in one cup when Fleury was there, when the security blanket was there.
Right, and he was a Cup finalist in Vegas, too, right? That first
Well,
year. That was his...
Just compare his wins to.
But he
Henrik
got the one.
Lundqvist.
He got the
Lundqvist
one
That's a
cup
good
the
point.
first time
Yeah.
around.
2009.
He made the big
Yes, he
save
did.
at
Yeah,
he has that
again, on
save
Lidstrom.
right with 3 seconds left
On
in the game,
Lidstrom.
like
Yeah.
on Lidstrom.
That's right.
Like that was his definitive. That's his cup.
Yes.
And then he had 2 others with Murray there, and he was the safety blanket, and Murray took over.
I think he's the first ballot
he's
guy.
a Hall
I
of
think he
Famer
is.
for sure.
He is.
And because
Yeah, for sure.
if you look at it, there was a time where he was in the conversation of top goaltenders in the world. That's to me Hall of Fame, worthy type of thing. When you're at the top of your field and you're known as one of the best, like that's
And one thing I don't understand, it's the last time I'm going to say it. Cujo's got the 4th most wins of all time. I do not know why he's not in the Hall
He
of
should
Fame.
be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just like Henrik Lundqvist, everyone's like, this is an automatic Hall of Fame. He doesn't have a Stanley Cup. So why the hell isn't Curtis Joseph in the Hall of Fame?
No,
It's ridiculous.
Lundqvist has the
Gold medal
the
in
gold medal
06.
in the Olympics.
Now,
Yeah.
Cujo was on the 02 team.
Yeah.
He started, and then Brodeur took over.
Yeah, no, I think Cujo,
But Cujo was on that
should be
team.
there. I think you're going to see.
There's something about goalies.
Yeah, and that's the biggest.
They're not getting the recognition in the Hall of Fame.
4th wins all time. Give me a
But
break.
3 of them are going in this year, right? With Vernon and Lundqvist,
Barrasso.
and Barrasso. So I think you're starting to see some appreciation where you're looking at players going, yeah, that guy's a tweener, that guy's a tweener. Well, you got to go back through the goaltenders, and I think there is going to be some recouping of guys that should be there. I think Cujo will make it. I think there'll be guys that are on the cusp. I've said this all along, and I'm going to be consistent. It might be 10 years from now. Chris Osgood might be in that conversation.
Well, he'd
too.
be in the Vernon mix.
Based in his
be in the
in his
Vernon.
Won a ton,
pedigree,
and his stats were
and his
great.
stats are great. But you're looking at those Detroit teams and go, yeah, they had 6, 7 Hall of Famers in front of them. That's really what it was. But Ozzy was a really
It's not
good
his fault.
goaltender. No, I understand, but he had the pedigree to do it. But for some reason, I think the committee looks at it and goes, he was just a product of a really good team.
Yeah, and that's probably unfair. It is likely unfair, but you're right. I mean, over time, it happens.
Right.
Over time, you let things rest, and then it becomes more about the statistics.
Right.
And like the Wikipedia page, which
So
will
what's going to happen
certainly-
moving forward, though, because guys don't play anywhere near as much as they used to?
Yeah, it's going to be an
So
adjustment.
your win totals are going to be down even further.
It's like pitchers, right? Like you had to be a guy that would rack up 230, 240 innings pitched like every year,
Bunch of
12,
20
14
win
years,
seasons.
bunch of 21 seasons. That kind of stuff doesn't happen
Yeah.
anymore. It doesn't even
How many
matter.
200 inning guys were there in baseball this year?
Very few.
Handful.
Very few. And I think Bassett hit it, remember, his last day, his last pitch.
Yeah.
Like he got out of it to hit 200 on the nose. Remember Robbie Ray won his Cy Young that year. He had 192 innings pitched.
Yeah.
That happens. Like Cy Young winners with 188, 190, 192. That was, you had to be 230, 240, 250.
But that's load management and analytics now, right?
Well, exactly. Guys are like, third time through, we'll take
Yep.
you out. It's not the pitchers.
Third inning, we'll take
Third
you out.
inning, we'll take you out.
Kikuchi is
Exactly.
warming up.
Get back out here. Come on now.
Yeah.
Dave Poulin in studio. Do you think the Leafs will approach this Panther game tonight as like a revenge opportunity? What do you expect their mentality to be? The carryovers from last year.
I'd be a little disappointed if that were the case, if they need that motivation. Like, seriously? I'd be more interested in let's get it together here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, were you already thinking about Florida when you played Chicago the other night? I don't think a good team needs that carryover motivation. Now, I do think as rivalries go on, rivalries get built through playoff series. Like, you don't like a team after you play them in the playoffs, especially for a couple of years. But I don't think you should be looking at tonight thinking, they beat us out of the playoffs. You should be looking at tonight that we got to get together here. We haven't played that well this year.
Goalie, other than like Matthews has been great, Nylander's been great, and then it's just a bit of a mishmash, and it's been a bunch of chances off the rush. Is that like everyone talks about the D-core, and it's probably not a championship caliber D-core? Is that like turnovers screwing the D-core where they can't recover, or is it just what's going on with that?
It is. You haven't been able to build a bottom six with any continuity here. You just haven't, because you've changed your bottom six constantly, right? Because of the financial situation. So you've never been able to build a third and fourth lines. You can say, okay, they've been here for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, and now they've been here with the same defenseman. It appears to me, I'm hoping it's lack of communication. Like, it just appears to me that there isn't great communication on the back check when a forward's passing a player to a defenseman between each other. It looks like there's a question, and there shouldn't be. There just shouldn't be. These are good players and NHL players, but there's not the word I actually like in hockey is connected. When 5 guys go out and they're connected.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes, Marner and Matthews are connected in a whole different way. But it takes 5 guys to be connected, and it doesn't feel like they're connected right now.
Well, there's a couple of changes coming tonight. I think they're going to keep Riley and Brody together, but the other 4 defensemen are going to start moving, which I think is probably needed, considering McCabe and Klingberg have not really been great defensively. I think McCabe more so than Klingberg, but they're going to mix that up. Now, as a result, like if that moves Giordano possibly up or down, like Giordano's an interesting case study because, you've played a few games now, but he's 40 years old. He's literally the oldest guy in the league. Like, doesn't there have to be something in the back of Sheldon Keefe's mind? Like, even if he looks good, playing well, you got to continue to shelter his minutes.
There should be, but you don't almost have that luxury right now because he's one of your best players. And it happened last year, and then it kept happening and kept happening and kept happening, and all of a sudden
He was playing a ton.
He was playing
Remember
a
all
ton.
the injuries? He was playing top pair last year at times.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to me when you were standing behind a bench, and I only did it at the college level, but when you're standing behind a bench and you look down and look at nameplates and numbers, trust me, you're putting the same guys out there.
Right, the guy you like.
Right.
The guy you know.
And before the game, you're like, okay, I'm going to distribute my minutes evenly now. I'm not going to do this. And then
Right.
you look down and go ahead, Komodowski, you're out there. Like, he's
Right.
my
Yeah.
best player.
Yeah. That's the Raptors are going through this right now. It's so easy for the new head coach. He's like, we're spreading the minutes. We're going to go talk to
No,
Nick
you're
Nurse.
not.
No, you're not. He couldn't put Malachi Flynn on the court. It doesn't matter if you like him or not. He can't play, so you couldn't put him on the court. It's the same thing with hockey.
Well, it's competitive nature. You're trying to win. You
Trying
put
to
your
win.
best players out there all
Worry
the time.
about that
with
next
them.
game.
Yeah, exactly. We'll reset. We'll figure that out in the future.
No, you won't.
The Ottawa Senators looked good last night. O's got Jake Sanderson winning the Norris.
No, hang on a sec. Nominated.
Nominated. Apologies.
Wow.
Nominated. Jake Sanderson nominated for the Norris.
David, I just think if he keeps trucking and they keep winning and everybody in hockey keeps saying Jake Sanderson, Jake Sanderson, Jake Sanderson. The last time a young defenseman did that was Adam Fox in New York, and guess what? He won the Norris. So I think if he keeps playing first power play unit and he's on the penalty kill and he's making unbelievable plays, and they keep winning, it's just going to happen. I don't think it's that crazy to think.
I'm all over this thought process because
Thank you.
he's with two other good defensemen in Shabbat and Chikrin, and he's elevating past them.
Mm-hmm.
The play he makes on his goal last night, that's Ovi. He pulls it off the wall straight across. Now, coming into the league, I talked to a lot of people about him before he got here, and they're like, Hughes went back for a second year. Makar went back for a second year. Look at how much they benefited. He went back for a second year. But they said, but he's bigger, and he's longer, and he's better defensively than those two guys were in college right now. Yeah. And I think his defensive stick, what game did I do on Sunday night, I think?
Was it you and I, Tampa game?
We're back and forth.
Yeah, that penalty kill.
His defensive stick late in that game was it was
standing.
I don't think you went to Norris on a defensive stick game 2.
Okay, but the point is, he's going to put up points. He's dynamic. He's
I'm not trying to rain on his
He's
parade.
running the power play, and if he continues to make great defensive plays, that's what defensemen
That
do.
will go a long way. That will go. Okay, let me throw a couple names at you because Cale Makar, I think even you can admit, is probably a lot.
He's pretty
top
good.
3.
Okay, but once again,
Adam
it's
Fox,
as good as they are,
Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah.
Rasmus Dahlin.
like him a lot.
Victor Hedman.
Heiskanen is a hell of a player.
Heiskanen, exactly.
Like they're listen.
Okay, I'll just downgrade it.
Charlie McAvoy.
I'll downgrade it to this. It's not out of the question.
He's in the conversation.
Which is
at least
a
he's
testament
in the conversation
to how good he looks.
At 21.
And don't forget, you took him over Jamie Drysdale, who
I didn't personally.
No, you didn't. You took him over Jamie Drysdale.
The Anaheim Ducks did that.
Who,
yes.
you know, that was a pretty good pedigree for that player. I mean, it was a right shot defenseman, and Sanderson had been hurt a lot in his draft year and the year before. So that wasn't exactly a no-brainer pick. And look at the way that draft has turned out for Ottawa.
Anyone who pulled the trigger on the selections of all those young players, Stützle, Sanderson, Batherson, Greg, whoever said that's the guy we're taking, that's damn good work because they all look like good players.
Phenomenal.
Pierre Dorian has a scouting background.
He's a scout.
That's he identified that could be one of the best 3-pack of draft picks an organization has had.
Okay, so
recent memory.
in that draft, what if this Roby Jarvente, he could be the first call-up, the big kid that had the really good camp.
Yeah.
What if Tyler Cleven's a player?
That's another kid.
He's had a great start in Belleville, but he is a big physical
Not familiar
defenseman.
with that.
Someone sent me a tweet about him.
He
earlier.
played
I'm
it.
like, I know him.
He played at North Dakota with Sanderson, and he's a long defenseman.
Very different player.
Like he's a stay at home. Like
think more Mark Mathot, but big hit, open ice, and he's already doing it in the American League.
We'll have to get to our notes on that.
Yeah, Doogie, send us a Cole's
Send us a
notes
player
on him.
profile.
But you mentioned one guy who has been really good early, but for me, you circle and you just hold your breath, and that's Chikrin. He's been so injury prone his whole career. Yeah. Like if he gets injured again, the house of cards can all of a sudden collapse on the back end. But he feels like the X factor for their whole season.
That he has changed his training piece because when you come in and he's a big kid, and it was all about power and strength, and it's much scaled back now to, mobility and being the right size, not bigger. So I do know that's already happened. So maybe that's part of it for him.
Are you at all concerned with the beginning of the season for Alex Ovechkin? Are you changing your projection for what he'll do this year?
I'm thinking through last year, I thought no-brainer. I mean, this guy is rolling along. He's going to absolutely catch Gretz. Like, it's just a matter of time. I don't like that team right now, the way they've started. Backstrom is a huge factor in his, whether he does it or not, huge. And he's 38 years old, and he's played such a power game. And it ends for everybody, but I think for that big power guy, that's a hard thing to continue. But it ends for everybody. I'm not as confident now as I was last year.
Goalie, we were talking about when American Thanksgiving comes around, an organization, or that's the thing in hockey. Everyone says you got to get to American Thanksgiving because then you know who you are. Does the organization know 2 weeks in what the hell they have? They don't have to wait to American Thanksgiving, do they?
But you want to give them 20. It's not American Thanksgiving. It's that you're at 20 or 25 games at American Thanksgiving, right? It's the
just
20
where it falls.
It's the 20 game mark, right? I think you've got to give them a little bit of space and a little bit of time to see. And, Do you know what you have right now? No, I think there's early on, there's going to be some exceptions, but 20 games in, you have a pretty good idea.
What do you look at the Leafs? Like, are you looking at a guy like Max Domi to give him a little bit more time to settle in?
I am, because I've seen him play really well.
Right.
And particularly in Montreal that year when he had 72 points. He and Tatar were really good together. I mean, and Gallagher. I mean, that was a really good line. Now, he's got to figure out what his role is. Like, you have 3 new left wingers. And you said, okay, here's how we think they go. We think it goes Bertuzzi, Domi, Nyes. I think Nyes is a top 6.
And he's supposed to move up tonight.
I think he's best suited there. So it's up to the other 2 to figure out who gets that second slot or the second top 6 slot. And the third guy has to do it. He has to carry the third line. I mean, that's what you have to do if you're one of those 2 veterans, Bertuzzi and Max. I've seen Max play really well. That was a 72-point year in Montreal, and he was a factor literally every game.
He played center ice that year.
He played center ice. Yeah. And so I've seen that, and that's what I have to see.
Well, that may be an option at some point. If they send Minton back,
it could be
he may still get a chance to play up the middle of the ice. That might happen.
Minton's looked a little overwhelmed for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to, kick
But said it. Wait till the real
now.
Game start.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, it is.
But you want to be giving him these 5 games on the road and say, can you look more comfortable and look like an NHL player? And if you're not, we're probably going to send you back. Wouldn't that be the approach?
It's not a bad thing.
I think they're sending him back regardless, but give him the experience. Get him his first goal if he can. Give him that
feel good on the way
feeling
out.
good and that. But I think, for the success of this team, he goes back to junior for the success of his development as well.
Well, look at Easton Cowan, who's a year younger, but he's gone back and he's by all accounts, looking great. You go back with confidence.
Huge confidence.
Massive confidence boost. Kind of like how they're treating Roby Jarventi down in Belleville, right? Because we're big fans
and
of
Tyler
what he brings. And Tyler Clevin. Yes, we are. All right, Pooley, we'll catch you on the panel tonight.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Great seeing you. Dave Poulin, our TSN hockey analyst in studio. Leafs Panthers on TSN 4 tonight. Luke Wilson will be in studio in about 15 minutes. Hayes and Company with the pick tonight. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, so some people texting in. You can text in at any point, 105050. You can email us live at tsn1050.ca. You can send us a tweet at OverdriveTen50. And Doogie's now basically our filter, right? Like, he's got a lot on his plate, but he was going through the texting. A lot of people texting in. This is what I'm sure you'd be possibly interested in, right? Because you were looking for boot camps. You're looking for some help. Some guy
if
said,
it's stupid, don't read it. I'm not going to go to some stupid thing.
Some guy said you got to drive to Burlington. Is that not happening? Okay.
No, that's an
At 5
hour
o'clock
away.
in the morning?
5 o'clock? But there's no traffic at 5 o'clock.
Still, it's a chunk.
Burlington's not an hour away. I guess some trainer, now it's at his house. He's got a sauna, a hot tub, a free Nespresso coffee
His
comes
name
with
is
it.
Bill, and his nickname is Buffalo.
So I got to go at 4 a.m. to a guy's basement.
Yes, and he's got a sauna, a tub, a pit,
Yeah.
and a dog.
And a dog.
And a small dog.
Yeah.
Named
And I
Precious.
end up hanging in the guy's tree in the backyard, and it's on first 48.
Yeah, it's like
No thanks.
Yeah.
You touch my precious.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's not going to work out. Someone said you got to get on Facebook, and I can. Yeah, I don't think any of
Facebook?
these are going to work for you.
Are you on Facebook? Like, I don't know anybody who's on
Dude, it's
Facebook.
pretty simple.
Facebook doesn't seem to work.
10 or 15 people, you do 100 jumping jacks, and then you do 10 bench presses, and then you run around the building once, and then you do
Well, you don't. Why do you?
abs,
You've
and then
already
you
got
get
it
on the
figured out.
road.
You don't need any help. Then you've already figured it out.
Because when I say I'm going to do it myself, I sit on the couch and watch Sports Center all day,
Right.
and then it's noon, and then I go for lunch, and then I'm like, I got to take a nap before work, and then it's never going to happen.
Yeah, a sneaky little nap. It creeps
You
up on
gotta
you.
take a nap.
The
Dude, I
nap
can't-
creeps up on you.
I can't do this job without a nap. I cannot.
I
Why
can't
don't you
remember the
sleep
last
in
time
longer? Why do you have to get up so early? That's
For the
what I don't
last 7
understand.
years, I've had a hard time sleeping. That's why I can't come in the studio all the time. I wake up at 4 a.m, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's game over, lights out, and I can't be. It's not funny,
You need a
man.
nap.
And I have to have a cat nap before I go on air, or I'm no good. If I'm on the DVP tired And then I get, dude, it's not funny. If I come,
very funny.
it isn't.
You're
If I don't
46
have
years
that,
old.
and I know, but if I'm on the DVP and I'm tired and I get in here, I am a disaster by 4:15.
Yeah. I've seen that before. I've seen the act before. But I don't understand why you can't sleep in a little bit longer. You know,
Dude, that's just,
I get it. That's why when you play golf, you're always trying to tee off at like 7 a.m. because you've been up for 3 hours. Really bothersome for other people that actually sleep at night.
Yeah.
But, okay. All right. Doogie, keep that in mind. Don't set up any phone calls at like 2:30 in the afternoon.
No.
Do you put everything on silent? Like, would someone bother you if they were calling you and woke you up? Probably
that's
bother
just
you a little bit, but
2 to 3 is my time.
2 to 3. Okay, 2 to 3. Keep that off the radar.
Exactly.
All right, Luke Wilson coming in. We got the Thursday nighter tonight. Jacksonville in New Orleans. New Orleans a slight favorite. I got the game tonight. We'll get into it, among other things, with Luke. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.